Hello, welcome back. Today is June 29th, 2022, and we're here with business and social.
You almost lost it.
I almost lost it for a second. I was thinking about how June's almost over, and soon it will be Independence Day.
Oh, yeah. USA.
USA. Prepare your burgers and steaks and fireworks now.
If you're in the United States and you're thinking about Independence Day and all that patriotic stuff, be the American the Japanese imagine you to be.
So Amazon, they employ a lot of people. They have a lot of churn. In fact, they're famous for it. Always fire the lowest 10%. What is it, every quarter?
Yeah, it's something crazy like that.
They must suck if they're not in the top 90. So just get rid of them. But perhaps that is a tactic that only works in healthy economic times and not times of recession and pain.
Leaked Amazon memo warns that the company is running out of people to hire. Unions might not be the tech giant's biggest labor threat. So if you read this memo and you read between the lines, they're basically saying that the, for lack of a better way to describe it, meat grinder of working in an Amazon warehouse that is so miserable and so many people do not want to do it, that they've hired the entire thing of everybody that wants to work there. Like people,
or everybody who can work there.
Yeah, I mean, the people are just not physically able to live up to those standards, which can only result in one of two things: going the robotics route, or, you know, the UPS, United Parcel Service. They went through this in the 80s, and ultimately the fix for UPS in the 80s was to develop a really good labor program that has maybe been eroded since then. I don't know. Maybe if you work for UPS, you can let us know in the comments. I would say Amazon's going to go the robot route.
There was a comment in this article too where they said Amazon ranked higher in terms of like the worst place to work, even over like Walmart or FedEx.
Because those places are actually paying more.
Yeah.
And you don't get injured as often.
I mean, sometimes you have an off day and it's like, I've done really good this month, but, you know, for some reason I didn't sleep good last night and my picks per hour are very low today, and they won't have it.
So I can't remember, was it New Mexico where they have the worst? Basically somewhere in the Southwest, they're already almost at that point. Like there's nobody left. They've churned through them all for whatever reason. That job market, nobody wants to work at Amazon. Probably really warm in those warehouses. And what they have said there, one of the managers who I think spoke with anonymity said, yeah, we have these policies and it's like the ones we've covered. You know, the P breaks where you have that table where it's like, all right, we'll forgive this one, but not this one. And here you went to the wrong floor, so you're going to lose 15 minutes of pay there. So they still have to go through all that song and dance. They have to write the people up. But every time they submit one, it comes back exemption because they can't fire them. So the workers there have kind of figured this out. They're just like, hey, what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to write me up? Yeah, go ahead. Waste your ink. So maybe they'll get to that. That's not going to be good for our Prime deliveries.
It's already not good for our Prime deliveries. It is a mess.
Yeah.
I never get stuff early anymore or like on time anymore.
The last 2 or 3 weeks of Amazon deliveries to the office are late, delayed days. There was one day they said they delivered everything. Nothing was there. So we were kind of freaking out, but then it all showed up the next day. So it was like,
when those Prime subscriptions start going off, that's going to be a bad time for Amazon.
yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be non-profit. They're still going to make huge profits, but it's not going to be to the level that they are now, which means that the shareholders are going to be pissed.
It's a disaster. There's a lot of stuff that's supposed to be delivered to the office by like 5 o'clock that are just showing up at like 7, 8 p.m. And it's like,
yeah. Those late deliveries are so annoying.
I'm sure it's not the driver's fault, but, you know, the drivers seem very beleaguered.
Yeah, sure. That job has to be terrible. Well, we know that's terrible. We've seen enough evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, doing that until 7 p.m. and it seems like they got an early start and they're just, you know, a walking corpse, basically.
Yeah, they're dehydrated and their bladders are twice the normal size. Plus their colons are absolutely full, just packed like a rocket. And
Such vivid language.
Meanwhile, at Netflix,
you know what? There might be some new Amazon workers coming from Netflix. That's a different job, huh?
Netflix begins its second round of layoffs. 300 positions have been cut. And yes, they have doubled down. They are moving forward with the ad-supported service and the reality shows.
I can't get over the Variety headline here where it's like exclusive in all caps. Like
Yeah, they did break it.
That's Variety News. Yeah. So there's things are changing inside Netflix. Maybe they can have a Squid Game of original content and
Or developers.
yeah. So
Squid developer game. You fire one every day if they don't manage to create to do the programming challenge correctly.
the beatings will continue until morale improves.
But what does this mean for the Crown?
Well, they are canceling hard, right?
They are. They've canceled a lot of shows. I don't think they would for the Crown because it's like their only real prestigious show, I think.
I
they
think
have
that's just
anything
the
else?
only one that you're not aware of. I mean, Netflix has a lot.
What
of
else do they
really
have that people really watch?
iconic shows currently in production. I don't know, but I mean, the old stuff you can
But
still.
that's like their original.
They have a lot of originals. Engagement Challenge.
Yeah, so I don't
What's
know a whole lot
on
about
Netflix. That's better.
I
than
watched
The
30
Crown.
Rock on Netflix, but that's not something they made.
So, if you do not pay your taxes, let's say you file your taxes, but you don't pay your taxes. You're like, listen, IRS, I'm having a tough time. I'm going to get these taxes to you later. And they'll say, all right, that's fine, but you're going to pay interest.
Or if you're a business owner, you don't prepay them according to the way that the IRS would like for you to prepay them. You'll also pay interest, even though they're not due.
It's interesting. Even though you pay on time, there was an opportunity cost for that money. What could you have done with that money to make money during that time? That's a big thing in the corporate world. Does it work in the other direction? Almost never.
Intel really just asked the EU for $624 million to pay it back for the overturned anti-AMD fine. So this has been a lawsuit going on since 2009. Intel had some, let's say, aggressive marketing that the EU found was anti-competitive because the aggressive marketing dollars meant that a lot of people that sold computers at the time couldn't sell AMD parts. And this is at a time when AMD had processors that outperformed their Intel counterparts, better processor at a better price. And so, one of Intel's responses was marketing. And they lost when their lawsuit was filed, but this has been languishing for the last, 4 or 5 years just on the appeal. And so Intel finally got it overturned, but they got their money back, but they want interest.
And that's a long time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the rate was there, but Intel thinks that they could have made what would have happened if we would have put all that money into R&D for our crappy chips during all those times.
Oh, I think Global Foundries could have done some amazing things with that money.
And when it comes to money, of course, the prices of everything going up, but there is a thing that will happen, which is demand destruction, because when everybody's broke, they're not buying anything. And when they're not buying anything, other things can get cheaper.
DRAM prices to drop 3 to 8% due to the Ukraine war and inflation. Wait, we'll explain. So, yeah, demand is cratering for memory. But 3 to 8% decline from where we are now is still a net increase of like 15% over last year. So,
Get it while you can.
No, line always goes up. Never go down.
Well, I think this one's going to go down because this, I think, is terrible timing.
I was thinking the whole time, like, if you're on the board or a shareholder at eBay, why weren't you screaming the other way for this deal? Like, this makes no sense.
Well, it probably took them 6 months to build it, right? So
Hit the bailout button at what's going on? eBay now has an established NFT marketplace at its bidding. The company is acquiring KnownOrigin for an undisclosed amount of money. This deal was no doubt in the works for months, but given the events of the last several weeks, why is eBay not running the other way?
So here they got some weird limitations on this. First of all, it maxes out, or it's not an auction. There's no auctions here. It's buy now, a max of $10,000. So like the Bored Apes, that kind of thing's not going to happen on the eBay platform. The other thing is you cannot tie a physical product with an NFT. So I can't sell you a t-shirt and an NFT of that t-shirt. It must only be the NFT. And what was the last one? There was another weird rule. But it seems like, the Wild West, they're trying to get a control of it, but isn't that what people love about NFTs? It's like lottery tickets, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to live like all those rich NFT people.
I feel like people who get NFTs from eBay are going to be looked down upon by people who get NFTs from other marketplaces.
Yeah.
Oh, yours are from eBay? Oh,
NFT gatekeeper.
it's like Faded Glory brand from Walmart.
Or Beanie Babies from eBay, as it turns out. It's like,
Oh, buyer and seller have to be in the same country. That's a huge limitations.
Just to cut down on fraud, maybe, or selling stolen goods.
Probably. And this, I mean, it's cool. It's a fun new technology. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting things we can do with it. But let's think about Apple AirTags.
I'd rather not.
Think about
What if you can mine Bitcoin on an AirTag? That's what somebody was thinking.
the chaos that Apple AirTags have brought about. And let me give you another word that might be a bit of a pause here. Microplastics. Aren't those an issue?
Yes.
The first high-yield sub-penny plastic processor. It took a major redesign for cheap, flexible chips to reach their promise. So this is a plastic processor that doesn't cost anything, costs less than a penny each. And they've got a fair bit of computational horsepower, considering nowhere near silicon, obviously. But it's plenty enough to actually do some computation on a device, hook up some sensors, whatever you need.
They actually talk about in the promotional stuff. I don't know if it's in the promotional material, but one of the guys hyping it for the hype quote was a tracker on every banana. What's a banana cost?
What is it, Michael? $10?
It's going to be 1 cent more after this.
Ugh.
But that's good though, because we can avoid things like blood diamonds, right? And blood oil, and oil that definitely didn't come from the wrong country.
I'm ready to burn that oil right now. There's an issue I think we need to resolve. If we need some blood utilities, I'll take it.
We don't even drive that often, and even I'm like, ooh, gas is getting a little pricey.
Yeah.
Is there a DIY geothermal option?
No, I almost deleted this, but I thought it would just be fun to bring up. My prep for this story was see the headline. Oh, new VR headsets. Click.
Nope.
No, not VR headsets. Super disappointing. Just regular.
I wondered why this was in here.
Yeah, I wondered why this was in here, and I had the same thought. It's like Sony could have a wave of new gaming headsets on the way. No, they're not VR headsets. Although the article author does concede later, like there's one line in this article that says, "Well, they're also working on maybe some gaming displays that are 144 hertz," and that was just, it's like
leaked images. Gee, I wonder who leaked it.
all on board the hype train. Woo!
Krista, they are pink. You think
Are they
about getting a
pink?
pink
They
headset?
do look like they're kind of like a pale pink, but I'm not sure if that's the photography.
I think that's the photography.
Yeah,
Oh, you think they're?
I think they're actually white, but because they're against the white background of the page, they look pink. But they're not, I don't think they're actually pink.
There also is a terrible color issue going on this PC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I need to reinstall Linux on this thing. It's old. So old.
And Google has always offered. So we know that Google spies on us. We know that they sell us ads. We know that their security, everything about they track us. It's all terrible. But what we get in exchange for that are some moderately good free products that can run your entire life. Until now.
Google says it's time for longtime small business users to pay up. So what was happening was, you want to use Gmail. What if you want to use Gmail with your own domain name? It's like, well, that's kind of a businessy thing to do, right? I mean, not really, but okay, whatever. And so Google said, all right, as long as you're using Gmail, we don't care. You want to set up your own domain name with it, fine. And then the last few years, they've been saying, no, that's small business use. We got to charge you for that. And every time people freak out and they walk it back. And now Google is saying, well, look, if you use Gmail with your own vanity domain name, you need to pay.
I got hit by this, actually, because I still had my old university email that I used for like a few things. And they sent me an email that was like, hey, Google's making us pay and we don't want to bother, so you need to switch. And I was like, oh. I didn't have a whole lot connected to it anymore, but it sucked.
Some of the quotes did point out that they had in the past said it would always be free.
Yeah, they definitely did. Because Gmail is always going to be free, right? Right.
Well,
They'd probably kill it overnight if they got rid of it, but
they said technically that Gmail is free, but not for small business with your own domain.
What if you're just a bozo that wants your own domain name because of reasons?
They also said that if you call and complain and make them that argument, it's like, well, it's not really a small business. I just ended up using it for my personal stuff now. Then they would also back down on that. But for how long?
Yeah.
They're going to do this again.
Yeah.
They're going to get caught up in it every time.
Yeah. It's like, all right, the compromise is Google wants to be your domain name registrar and make $10 a year that way. That's really what it is. There's some suit that's looking at this and saying that the people that own your domain name are making $1 a year, and we're not making that $1 a year, even though we're making money on the Gmail side of things, selling the crap out of the data that's in your Gmail.
Yeah. They're reading them,
We want that $1.
teaching their AI.
It's like, all right, if you're going to use the vanity domain name, you got to use Google's registrar. That's a reasonable compromise. But no, they couldn't come up with that. I don't think people would be complaining a lot less about that too. It's like, if you want the free domain name, you got to transfer it to our registrar. Probably it's less terrible.
Now, this one is another Apple convenience, but for the love of God, supply chain attacks. Are we not having a rash of supply chain attacks? Did you just want to simplify that for them?
Developers can now transfer ownership of apps that use iCloud. In the ultimate, let me give you the sub headline for the 9 to 5 Mac headline, which is in an act of hubris where Apple says that our device security is so good nobody could ever fake this, you can now transfer apps that use iCloud because, you know, obviously using the whole iCloud ecosystem for two-factor, no developer or whatever is still another developer's thing. I mean, really, there probably should be some mechanism to transfer, but yeah, this is probably it's gonna be interesting.
How long? How long do you think before we have another headline?
Yeah, not long at all. Not long at all. Well, we just did get the big breach of credentials, right?
Yeah.
So
It'll be like the New York Times accidentally transferred the ownership of its crossword app to Nigerian scammers.
Not
like
Wordle. They can't take Wordle from me.
I keep sending Wordle Apple gift cards, but it's never enough.
It never works. I can never play it.
And the big threat for all of these companies, but Apple in particular, because Apple has retail locations, is that U word.
Union wins the right to represent workers at an Apple store for the first time. It was like 66 to 33, 66 in favor of the union. And the comments were really interesting. They're like, well, you know, the pay's basically okay, but there's some things we need to address. And that was from somebody that had been there for 8 years.
But these people are still insane because you read their quotes and they're like, no, I believe in the Apple culture. I believe in what they're trying to do. It's just, you know, sometimes
We want to make some improvements to how we run things at the store.
sometimes they're not so nice to us, but I know they're good. I know they're really good.
No.
And crypto, oh boy, is having your money anywhere near a crypto service a little bit iffy right now.
Coinbase shares fall after rival Binance.us drops spot Bitcoin trading fees. CNBC writes this almost like, hey, trading crypto is going to a zero fee, zero commission kind of a thing. And if you've been dealing directly with your own wallet, it's always been that way. Well, it's not zero fee, but you know what I mean.
But you're not paying the Coinbase fee.
Right,
You're
yes.
paying, which was on top of that. Now, what's unspoken here, and I think is obvious what's going on, the SEC decision
Yes.
to stop front running for securities trading.
Yep.
So a lot of these companies were like, oh, we better get into crypto. You know why? Because you can front run crypto. You know how you front run something? Order to flow data. Guess what free trading gives them?
Yeah.
This is Robinhood again.
Yeah.
Robinhood and Citadel just in the crypto world. Do you trust that?
No, he shouldn't. There's got to be a better way. The SEC's in on it. What's going on? Ah!
And of course, if you're getting into any kind of crypto trading right now, you got to be aware that it is on fire.
BlockFi receives 250 million credit facility from FTX. That's going to fulfill client balances across all accounts. So that should tell you that money was already spent. It's already gone.
Lost.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't spent, it was lost. And of course, these two can see we have 2 more CoinDesk tabs coming up. Could it be more of the same?
Yeah.
First to short Bitcoin ETF to list on the New York Stock Exchange. So if you want to short Bitcoin, now you can.
If you have an unlimited supply of money and you want to move the crypto market, guess what you can do now? You can buy options and sell options on crypto. And another one, unfortunately, another domino on the flaming dominoes board has toppled over.
CoinFLEX pauses withdrawals amid extreme market conditions and counterparty uncertainty. Counterparty is the the three arrows thing. And
Well, they say it's not.
and everything. They say it's not, and yet
They were a lending platform, so it's not quite just an exchange, but the contagion is spreading.
if you were approved for lending and you would like to withdraw, sorry, you're not going to be able to withdraw. That is paused for now to prevent a run on the crypto.
Which is already in.
It seems like we've done a lot of stories about that recently. A lot of running on banks, on crypto.
The anti crypto sentiment lately has been extremely strong.
Good time for central bank digital currencies. Never let a crisis go to waste. And the metaverse, we did get some metaverse news. I think I put all that in social this week. But we got some new headsets that people are previewing. And it may be like the metaverse still isn't really a thing, but maybe we're tiptoeing into it. And if you're a giant tech company, even in China, you cannot ignore that.
Tencent forms extended reality unit as metaverse races to gather steam. So I read this article and I had a crazy idea. We should do an app where you can generate a hash. So this is a blockchain idea, but this might be really cool. You can generate a hash and stick that on a physical device, and then anybody that has the device in their hand can maybe use that to read the device's history or contribute to the device's history. So like you could find the device by serial number, but then if you had the other part of the key, you could also add to the device's history as kind of an information thing. So like if you make a lamp, you could put you could sign it as an artist and be like, this is the lamp that I made and blah, blah, blah. And then the blockchain would show who you sold it to. And if they wanted to, they could record a video or write a note or something that would also live on the blockchain and be like, I really enjoyed the lamp. Here it is in my living room and blah, blah, blah.
Aren't you just describing NFTs?
Yeah.
Except it's physical. There's actually a physical thing there.
Well, even when it's destroyed, there would still be a history of it. But if you find the real one,
That would revolutionize art history.
I mean,
Because a lot of times you're just like going through random books, looking for random slips of paper.
It would be a lot of fun too. I think people would do that, and people would like the stories, and it would be all about humanity and not some sort of commercial perversion of it.
You know what you would be here's what that would become in about 6 weeks after you create it. Online panty sales. It would be like 90% online panty sales.
I mean, that would actually maybe fund the platform.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, oh, that would be great for art historians and antique dealers. And then, of course, Ryan goes straight to the darkest place it can go.
I'm just imagining somebody with their phone in a basement, and it's like, boop. And it's like, hi, my name's Candy. This is pair number 37. And it's like, if they're happy with that, whatever.
That would suck if you got Candy's panties, but you found out that like Steve had them right before you.
Oh.
That would be on the blockchain, and you would know.
I regret this purchase.
And then Candy could check on her work later. I mean, if you're an artist, it'd be really cool. It's like, whatever happened to that painting? Boop.
It's being used to patch up the chicken coop, which is what happened to a lot of Van Gogh's paintings.
Well, SpaceX, they are out there and they are offering internet from the sky. And now they have a better version, new satellites. But that whole bandwidth thing, it's still going over the air, and that's still a crowded place.
SpaceX asserts 5G would quote unquote blow out satellite users in the 12 gigahertz band. This is really interesting. Dish is trying to use the 12 gigahertz band for terrestrial user-to-user 5G mobile phone. Dish. Wait, it's not Dish. Dish isn't a thing anymore, right? It's AT&T. AT&T is threatened by SpaceX. I don't think the people that did this article did a lot of research.
And how ironic that they're threatened by a satellite company.
Yeah. So SpaceX said they did their own research and found that there was a lot of interference. And Dish said, we did our research and it shows that it'll work fine. I'm disinclined to believe Dish, but we'll see.
You're going to pick Dish over Musk, huh?
Well, it's the whole DirecTV, Dish, satellite. It's not really the same, but there's something fishy going on here. Every
single bullet point that they assured us would never happen after that merger happened immediately after that merger.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have no reason to trust you. I'm sorry.
We have no reason to trust anybody when it comes to the 5G network. And if anything, what Musk is doing is going to, in general, disrupt mobile players in the market. So a game is being played here. The game is afoot.
The greatest game. Wimbledon. I have never been hyped for Wimbledon.
No,
have you guys?
don't care.
Have you ever watched it?
What if you could do my QR code idea on like the individual tennis balls? That would probably get the Wimbledon fans hyped.
You know what I read? Someone had a conspiracy theory on YouTube that Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball bought the company that makes baseballs right after the head of MLB said, "I want to see more home runs." And then if you look at the chart of home runs, off the chart, there's a conspiracy that MLB is making baseballs easier to hit so that it makes a more exciting product. That's kind of what they're doing here. They're trying to make a way so that these slow, somewhat boring sports can engage you more when you're actually there watching them.
Wimbledon hoping big data will improve the fan experience. All England club teams with the IBM, or teams up with the IBM to offer the win factor tool. Yeah.
My favorite part of this article was mentioning, like, they said, I can't remember what the percentage was in the audience, but like a large percentage didn't even know any of the players.
Right, yeah. They just show up and they're like, yeah, we'll come to Wimbledon, whatever.
Do they just get drunk in the crowd? That's probably what's happening, right?
These are really upscale sporting
Sort of
events.
events, yeah.
The food and drink you get at these places. I've never been to these, but I went to the one U.S. Open. I think it was in Cincinnati one year when I was young. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best pizza I've ever had.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's, or like horse racing.
Yeah.
Or it's like that kind
kind
of
of
like
thing.
upper crust sort of thing.
What if somebody get Mark Zuckerberg on the phone, have everybody wear their Meta augmented reality headsets, and so it'll have their name and the ball velocity, and you could like drill down and see the brand of tennis racket that they're using, and they could see all that in AR.
That's essentially what they're doing, except they're using smartphones to show you stats and let you interact with other people while you're there. And, you know, like all the telemetry. Another thing baseball does, just a ton of telemetry. Everything about what that ball is doing, they'll tell you. So essentially what they've done here is they've brought the Twitch chat to live sports.
Yeah.
You're just staring at your phone.
There's another thing saying like you could look at the individual players and see their stats, and like the way that they were going to get that data was like how popular and stuff they were online. And I was like, couldn't you game that by just having better SEO than your opponent?
Yeah.
I guess they don't care. They're just trying to get people to come.
Well,
so.
still, whoever's going to win is going to win.
Yeah.
So the AI is going to try to, and that would actually be good for the engagement, probably, right?
Yeah.
Upsets. Let me pose a question to you guys. What do you call a really successful Canadian? Canadian American. Brain drain. We get them all. And that's why you have to do this kind of nonsense.
Canada has approved a bill requiring YouTube and TikTok to promote domestic content. Because everybody forgets Canada is not just another American state.
France did this too. So what they're saying is, hey, all the popular culture comes from America, and we want our culture to be shown. And everybody's like, we don't want that. We want the American culture. And they say, no, you will. You will watch it.
This honestly sounds like something out of Quebec, but it was pretty well supported across all of Canada.
It's funny that this article has a picture of Elon Musk because Grimes is Canadian. And she's produced a lot of her music in Canada, and it has like the Made in Canada sticker on the music videos.
Where does she
but
live?
now she's moved to California.
Exactly.
She is getting American citizenship.
Canadian American. I don't even think she's talented. She's
good
just rich.
She's a good musician.
That's subjective, Krista. And of course, Elon Musk, speaking of Mr. Musk, the Twitter deal. What's happening? It just seems to be mired in...
There's only 3 things we got to work through now. Just 3 things.
they're pretty big things, though. Pretty large.
Elon Musk says that there are 3 issues that need to be resolved before his Twitter buyout can go ahead. 1, bots? Hello, bots? What's going on with bots? Number 2 was something else. I forgot.
It was debt. He was like,
yeah.
The actual funding, and number 3 was the vote, which I think happened this week, right?
Yes.
So the vote, now there's 2 things. The vote is done. They said, yes, he can have it. But he's had the fire hose of data for,
Like a week? 2 weeks?
I think it's been 2 weeks, right?
weeks.
Yeah.
We've not heard anything from him about that. There probably is an NDA, though, right?
He is not the type to eat humble pie. It's like, oh, I was wrong about
he's
that.
also really not the type to stick to an NDA. So
Yeah, but that's $1 billion if you break it. Even he has to stop and be like, that's
That's going to smart a little
a
bit.
portion
Maybe-
of my income.
well, yeah, that, and he's also got other investors in on it with him. So maybe he's like, I shouldn't mess with that too much.
Yeah. That makes the other investors angry.
And this one is it's never good. It's never good when the tech companies can agree on anything, because you know if they can agree on something, it's not in your best interest.
Microsoft, Meta, and others are founding a metaverse open standards group, which will keep everyone else out.
They compared it to like the World Wide Web Consortium, and I was like, oh, that could be a good thing. But then they mentioned Apple and a bunch of other companies aren't in on it yet. So it's like, so is it really going to be like a standard, or is it just going to be like a handful of companies?
Do you think Apple rejected, or were they not even invited because of their tracking situation?
I would assume they would be invited at least.
I don't know. If you're Zuckerberg, they hurt you badly.
Yeah.
If you could keep them out of the metaverse, that would be a huge coup. I don't think he can. And where Sony just gave us regular headsets and we got clickbaited into it, in fact, Meta has headsets, and they might even sell you some of them eventually.
Mark Zuckerberg has so many VR headset prototypes to show us. This is kind of a puff piece on The Verge,
Yeah.
but they just, like, look, we're trying really hard on the metaverse. Look how hard we're trying.
What is this guy down here? Who's wearing that?
There's a lot of weird prototypes.
Is that
in
for
this article.
underwater?
Some kind of augmented reality something. But scroll down. There's
There's
one
a lot of
prototype-
pictures.
Yeah, this is something I could build, so I'm not really super impressed by this. Those are DisplayPort cables on the top. This isn't even really miniaturized. That's just nonsense. I mean, come on.
It's got a cooler built into it.
Yeah, this is the
Fans.
one where they put just an insane display with brightness, like brightness that you could never do from a battery. They're like, I don't know, maybe we'll figure it out.
This one can burn your retinas.
I mean, I appreciate the idea of like just throwing stuff at the wall, especially if it's early, but like, why would you release a puff piece with this kind of unfinished work?
Why would you? Yes, and it's not only unfinished aesthetically, it is unfinished technically, because those giant DisplayPort connectors. Come on.
Do you think this is probably purely a piece to make investors not freak
Yes,
out?
exactly.
Yeah, because you've promised something and the weeks just keep ticking by and you've got nothing to show.
Yeah.
Mr. Zuckerberg, we gave you several $billion and you showed us this augmented reality fencing thing. How are you even going to accomplish that? And it's like, look at these giant DisplayPort connectors.
And Zuckerberg just takes a swig of Sweet Baby Ray's and he's like, shut up. And throws all these prototypes at them.
And then someone scans the QR code of the Sweet Baby Rays and it's like, wow, this is the one that was in the video. This belongs in a museum.
Yeah, NFT that immediately. So yeah, metaverse it's still not there, and I don't know how long you think Facebook can survive with offering nothing, considering all their other products are waning.
Probably about 5 or 6 years. That's how it was with Microsoft when they were kind of languishing for a while, and it didn't matter. They were able to just keep running on cash reserves.
It's hard to kill something when it gets
Yeah.
that powerful. Well, Twitter also might be seeing themselves losing relevance these days. I mean, TikTok is just eating their lunch. So what can you do? They're actually going in the other direction, oddly enough.
Twitter is testing Notes, a long-form content feature. So let me just sum this up for you. If you use Twitter for any amount of time and somebody has a lot of something to say, they post a picture of text. This is less clunky than that.
Or they do the
thread.
chain tweet.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Which is stupid.
This is a less clunky version of that. That's all it is. That's all there is to see.
It's
here.
long form
But-
content.
It also removes the only gimmick. Like, why would you use Twitter for that? You can do this anywhere on the internet.
They're all kind of becoming more and more similar, I think, over time. Like they just steal features from each other.
Never mind that Twitter could have supplanted Instagram if they had similar features in terms of like search and organization to Instagram from day one. They were just too lethargic to do that.
And they were focusing on activism and trying to control the world rather than to give it a product that it likes, which they continue to do. Telegram has hit a milestone, and when you get this many users, you say to yourself, let's start charging them money.
Telegram tops 700 million users and launches a premium tier. Use Signal.
Was it $6? But that's another $6 a month.
No. $6 a year, maybe.
This makes me furious every time another like pay for this, pay for that, pay for it's like no.
See,
no.
That's the thing that I don't think any of these companies understand is like they want to do subscriptions. And I don't think people are super against subscriptions, but I think it's got to be an order of magnitude less money that they're asking for.
I mean, that is not an app subscription. $1 is pushing it.
Yeah.
And if you go below $1, then the transaction cost means it's pointless.
Yeah. Unless you have a whole other transaction system that, so you basically have to start over. Yeah. You have to, kill Visa and MasterCard with fire.
Or with central bank digital currencies.
Central bank digital currencies and no fees for trades.
Oh, that'll be part of it. Yeah. Let us control all the money. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We don't need transaction fees. We can print money. And Twitch, I have to go back and turn off the auto filter on Twitch regularly.
Really?
Like, I'm like, no, I want my users to say whatever they want. And Twitch is like, yeah, okay. And then they turn it right back on. And I think Discord is facing the same issues.
Discord's AutoMod can automatically detect and block offensive words for servers. So I really think this is, imagine all of the horror show that goes with this. But let's not talk about the article. Instead, let's talk about Meet the Pyro. This is Meet the Pyro in real life.
Let's talk about this horrible art style.
Look how happy that robot is.
I want you to imagine, if you will, a world which Mark Zuckerberg's augmented reality headset comes to life, or Apple's vision for the augmented reality headset. And in real time, AI is substituting the world around you with a less offensive version of the world, built specifically for your psyche. Are you a fragile snowflake that just can't see or hear certain things? No problem. The headset is going to filter all of that out.
I was just thinking they just don't want to deal with people. So like everything will be some sort of horrible dystopia around you. But it's like, oh, but at least you can watch your new Disney Plus show on your VR headset.
Well, you would drive by, let's say, a church, right? Now that could be offensive to some people. So instead of seeing the church, you'll just see an ad for Pirates of the Caribbean 6.
600, you mean?
If I could go out in public wearing an augmented reality headset and people were just replaced with, generic gray blobs, I would probably be able to cope a little better.
Yeah, and somebody would hit you over the back of the head and take your headset.
What if the headset was like, oh, we've got a quick impromptu game of, some, Beat Saber. And it's like, I'm actually defending myself against the...
What if you like walked by something and it was censored with an ad, but it was an ad for the new season of Picard?
That's probably still better. But yeah, I mean, this is the future that we're coming to. AI is going to be filtering out the world around us, because that's a thing.
Is there going to get to a point where walking around without augmented reality glasses is going to make you unable to participate in so many ways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. That'd be some good fiction to write right now.
Drink verification can.
If you write that fiction right now, then in 10 years' time, people are like, oh, they're such a visionary.
My mom let her driver's license expire, so she's trying to get an ID. And because of like the ID law requirements, she's having a hard time convincing them that she says she is.
Does she have to retest if she gets another license?
No, she's not going to get a license. She's going to get an ID card.
But it seems like it would be easy to go get a new license, right?
It expired a while ago. So... but it's like, we need your birth certificate. And it's like, this is not a valid birth certificate. And it's like, this is the original birth certificate from like 100 years ago. So why is it not acceptable? And it's like, oh, because it's, blah, 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 blah.
Could she not just show them her old ID and be like, this expired?
No, she lost it.
Oh.
Well, this was not the headline I clicked on to get to this. This had to do with one very specific statistic here. But let me ask the table and one person in particular, do you feel that you have an unhealthy relationship with your phone?
Oh, yeah.
You're not in the minority, it turns out.
Americans have a close but worry bond with their smartphone.
It was 60%. 58, I think. 58%.
So there used to be, like 1 or 2 phones ago, Samsung had a feature where you had like a work mode and a non-work mode on your phone, and it was like different profiles. And it was really fast and easy to switch between them. And in that setup of Android, I had it set up so that I got different notices. And I found that like in terms of like mental well-being and being annoyed by stuff happening on your phone, but still using the phone for like the good stuff, like looking up stuff on the internet, I found that way of using the phone to be really amazing and nice. Because if I needed to unplug for a while, I could switch to that profile or just turn off notices from that profile. You could get notices from both profiles at once, but you could also turn one off and still get other notices for other things if you needed it. And that was really nice. And it seems like most phones now, like it's hard to set up that level of granularity, that level of control.
They want you on all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Always look.
I'm pretty sure what you just described is the equivalent of switching from Marlboro 100s to Marlboro Lights.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, mentally though, it can make a difference.
So that was 58%, and they have a bunch of interesting statistics in here. It seems like most people do understand. 18 to 29, 81% said they're on their phone too much.
I know some people that in their way of coping with this, they'll actually set their out of office every day when they leave as their passive aggressive way of dealing with
But
it.
see, I think in your mind, your idea of like bad phone is just because like, dealing with stuff that you don't like. But bad phone is also Twitter.
Yeah.
See, that's what you're.
Bad phone can also make you take a hate nap because you're furious about something you read on the internet.
Well, see, it's fun though, because I won't actually install the Twitter app because of the notices. So like I don't like for things to notify me or ping
Bing
me.
you constantly.
Yeah,
Because then it
exactly.
breaks you out of whatever you're trying to do.
Exactly. And I found that for my own stuff, that is the biggest sap of productivity in getting anything done. And so like when I'm working, I feel like I can't turn that off. But then when I'm not working, I have way less of that. But yeah, it's not great.
See, now you've replaced the Marlboro Lights with the Jewel cartridge.
Which you can't get now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are the forbidden.
Oh,
Forbidden Jewel.
vape.
aren't those consumed in your household? What are you doing?
He doesn't use a Juul, he uses some other brand, but I don't know if it probably counts toward it.
You're gonna find out they own every
Yeah.
other brand.
No.
But anyway, yeah, people use their phone too much. They're aware of it and they don't care because they're addicted.
I really like the idea of, at 5:30 you set your out of office and it's like, it's after 5:30. I'll be back in the office tomorrow at 8:30.
But you also know that's completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
People just don't tolerate that. And people are going to have a crisis and they're going to freak out. They expect you to do something about it. And if you don't, they'll find somebody who will.
Yeah.
That's the Amazon way, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, they get it to me in 2 days.
We promised we'd move the timeline so it's not a death march. Oh, no, we didn't. It was always like that.
Some
We've always
clients
been at war in
tolerate
East
that.
Asia.
Like sometimes they'll email you after work, but like they don't expect a response till the next day. But then others will freak out and email you over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's always an escalation. It's like, I tried this other thing, and so now I've made more work for you. And it's just like,
Well, perhaps, you know what? You got to say, I don't understand the youth culture at all. I'm at the point in my life where I'm terrified of it. And
would you say they need to hire a CEO?
I don't want them
It's a
to
preview.
be in charge of anything. I look at these people and I'm like, no, they can't be in charge. Well, that's going to kill us all. But you got to admit, they are in some ways, like with their lying flat ways, they're breaking the backs of these companies.
Yeah.
Amazon is
Which
in
I'm
trouble because people are not willing to play their game anymore. Could that be the savior for us when it comes to all these distractions and smartphones and the digital hell that we live in?
A new student movement wants you to log off. Emma Limke, something like that.
Limke, I would say is, yeah.
19 is encouraging her peers to reduce their time on the internet and rethink their relationship to it. It's like basically turn your phone off. It's like your employer doesn't need to be able to reach you after hours.
They have a picture here, unfortunately, we're paywalled, of Miss Limke. And if that is she's in college, she's 19. If that is her college dorm room or where she's staying as a 19-year-old in college, she's obscenely rich.
Oh.
So I don't think that she has to worry about the same things that most people have to worry about in terms of,
Well, I don't know about her in particular, but like, have you seen dorms anymore?
no.
Especially like big state universities, they are nice.
This was a wood floor with a joined bathroom.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, really nice.
Dorms are like that now for some of these big like state universities.
The crack in the wall made me think like old house rental.
But yeah, maybe. But who can afford a rental? Why aren't you in a dorm? It just tells me that she's got a unique living experience. She's also incredibly attractive, so that she's probably got that going for her.
It does seem to be the case that the more sort of blue collar work that you do, the more sort of demand that there is for you not to unplug, and that there are consequences if you do elect to try to do something mentally healthy like unplug. So the ability to unplug is in itself, I think, some kind of a privilege.
Which she certainly has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not everybody does. But I would like to see a youth movement of like
I think
breaking
that's
away from
happening.
it.
There's
Really?
also like, there's the slow internet movement where like, I don't know, I'd have to find the article about it, but there's more people doing this kind of thing. It's not
What-
just
I
like
don't
a college
understand.
student.
Is that where you purposely hamper your internet connection?
No, it's like you don't access the internet as often. If you do, you try to like,
She advocated that.
so it's the same sort of thing, but it's just a different name.
What if there was a movement that would actually slow down the
Ugh.
internet connection?
You don't have to do that. That's just living in the US.
No, I mean it's slow down your consumption of the internet. It's also the case that like when I've got a big project to work on, I might only check my email like 4 times a day, which is still every 2.5 hours.
Oh my God, I just had the most horrible thought. If you're a telecom company, sell youth branded plans with draconianly low data caps as a feature, not a bug.
It's coming.
Oh,
Level 1 prediction.
you've got a 13-year-old? We'll get them the 5 gigabyte plan.
Where it just hard cuts off.
Right, exactly.
I think that's not uncommon, actually.
No, it's not, but they bill you when you
Yeah.
go over.
Don't do that. I'm sorry I said that out.
It's too late. You can't
All right,
take
what do
it
we
back.
got for Friday? We got a lot of nonsense coming Friday.
Robot nonsense and of course space. Lots of space
Lord.
this week.
All right, we'll see you guys then. Bye.